Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care. So if you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So today's video, I believe we are on episode 14 of the Hair Talk. If it's your first time here, welcome. If this is not and you've been following this series, welcome back. So today I'm kind of proud of myself because I am going to be, reporting on or speaking my piece on, you could say, a new trend or a new phenomenon. And then over the weekend, we did have, you could say, a situation that kind of ties into what we are getting ready to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss today, I am fully aware that this, you could say, phenomenon or trend has been going on with natural women for years. So there was a video that popped up on my feed, and I will give you the two scenarios that we are going to talk about. But what I'm referring to is that apparently there is this trend, or there was this trend, and it's still ongoing, that women who are natural, or women who consider themselves natural, not with dreads, micro locks, or anything like that, like just natural. Apparently, in order for them to get the slayed look, in order for their edges to be laid, in order for their baby hairs, you could say, to be under control, they have been relaxing their edges. That has been going on for years. I think the oldest video that I particularly saw was 6 years ago. But apparently there is this new trend. And again, you guys know that I bring you these trends when they pop up on my feed. So even when I'm doing the research, I'm not going to be able to see all of the videos. But once I see one video and I watch it, of course, I go down the rabbit hole. And there are two scenarios that I do want to bring up, because the first one I'm getting ready to bring up is not something that I've seen very often. It's really going to be the second scenario. So the first scenario, and I will show it to you, apparently there is this new phenomenon, or there is this new trend when you have locks, or when you have dreadlocks, or when you have sister locks, that you are now, you could say, relaxing your edges when you have dreads, okay? So all of the videos that I saw, the first one that I saw, these have all, for me, the ones that I have been able to see, have been coming up, I would say, anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half. But there's two scenarios that I do want to break down, because I think the first one, which is the most extreme case that I want to share with you, I don't think a lot of people are doing that. But the first one, I'm going to show you the video, we'll come back, and then we'll discuss.
On the journey to turn his locks gray, my client got bad advice from one of the Asians at the hair store and ended up putting relaxer on his locks. I did my best to get them back together, but I don't think they're going to make it. Where two different textures meet is a breaking point, and in a month he'll have 3. Locked hair meets relaxed hair meets afro hair. Shall we pray?
Okay, so as you can see for the first one, it was a gentleman. He was in an Asian hair salon, or he was in an Asian beauty supply store. And for whatever reason, I cannot fathom why he would even do this. He asked, it was an Asian man in the store, what he should do, or he asked him for his advice on the dreads. Number one, and this is not being, you could say, racist or trying to make this a race thing, but I'm not really sure why he asked an Asian man how to take care of his dreads, right? There was nobody in this man's life, a sister, a cousin, a niece, his mother, his grandma. There was nobody in this man's life that he could ask about what he was trying to accomplish. The second thing is, even though you asked this person for their advice, I'm not really sure why you took the advice. And as you can see in the video, this man did not, you could say, relax his edges. He did his edges, but he also did his scalp. He also did his roots. And you can see the damage that this caused, because not only did it turn, because he was, if you didn't realize in the video, he was actually trying to get his dreads to go gray. If you also didn't realize that in the video, it started to turn color. But that's not even the worst part. If you look at the video, you can see the damage to this man's hair. And as the woman said in the video, he's now going to have 3 textures in his hair. But I'm saying that because the amount of damage that this man has done to his hair, taking advice from someone who really didn't know what they were talking about, or really had no business giving him that advice, and the fact that he took the advice, looking at his hair, it's almost to the point of no return. In the video, you hear the loctician say, let us pray. Me personally, I would tell him, listen, we are at the point of no return. We're going to have to, shave your head, and you're going to have to start over. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you don't know, like if you've never had a conversation with someone who is natural, if you've never had a conversation about black hair, natural hair, when someone chooses to go natural, it's called a demarcation point. The demarcation point. And let me explain to you, if you are not familiar, what that is or what it means. So when you go natural, some women choose to grow their hair out a couple of inches and then just do like a big chop. Some women choose to grow their hair out, as I did. I did not do a big chop. The demarcation point is basically the point where the actual relaxed hair meets the natural hair. So you will have the actual, because your hair is growing, right? Your hair is always growing. You will actually have the natural hair coming from your roots, and then at some point, probably say anywhere from 2 to 3 inches out, that's where you will start to have the relaxed ends. The demarcation point is the weakest when you are on that journey, when you were in that phase. The demarcation point is the weakest part of your hair, because just imagine it. You have all of this natural hair that's coming out of your head, and then you have the little scraggly ends, or you have the relaxed ends. I cannot imagine. And on top of that, I will give you an example. You will see these videos of these women who will like actually wet their hair, and they will have like these beautiful, luscious, thick curls. And then you will see like these little straggly or like these little straight pieces. Where you see that is the demarcation point. That is the weakest point of the hair at that time. So I can't even, and we're talking about dreads, we're not talking about just natural hair. So when this man chose to just simply relax his roots, I cannot imagine the strain and the weight on his dreads. And essentially that's what happened. They begun to break off. And you can see that in the video. And that's why I said, personally, to me, that is a point of no return, because what's going to happen is, and who knows if he chose to do it again, the loctician that he went to probably said, don't ever do that again. But what she was saying is that now he's going to have those 3 different textures, because you see a lot of people, especially people who wear dreads for fashion or for an aesthetic, you will see that they typically retwist their dreads, right? So they can have like a cleaner look. That demarcation point is going to continuously go down. So he's going to have to be very careful. But even with that point right there, it's still going to be the weakest point. And just imagine, as his hair is growing and growing and growing and growing, that weight is going to have his hair breaking off. And you can see in the video that that's exactly what happened. You can see that there are some dreads that look like they're holding on for dear life, but you will also see is that when the dreads, when they snapped off, you will see that the hair that was relaxed is actually starting to come apart out of the dreads, okay? So that's the first scenario. The second scenario, which seems to be mainly women, I didn't see any videos of men doing this, but the second scenario is one that I also want to bring to your attention, because that seems to be a phenomenon within itself. And it is Black women who are natural, or women who have dreads, who are relaxing their edges. And some people are referring to it as a halo relaxer. Basically, it's just the hairs right here. I don't even know if they're doing it in the back, but they're just doing it literally where their baby hairs are. So that even though they have dreads or they have sister locks, however you refer to them, their edges are laid. They can slay them. They can take, they can take their gel, they can take their baby bliss and all that stuff, and they can just have, these laid edges with dreads, which I think, within itself is kind of an oxymoronic thing. You have dreads, but you have laid edges, which you will see other videos of women who will show you or say, hey, this is all what you, because essentially people are saying that this is more so for women with 4C hair. You will find a lot of women who have 4C hair, whether they're natural or whether they have dreads. These are the ones who are doing like these ridiculous things, or who are following these ridiculous trends when it comes to their edges, right? Because if you look at the videos when it comes to these women who are relaxing their edges when it comes to their dreads, I've seen someone take a bald cap and place it right there and comb the hair out. I've seen someone take just like a small ribbon and do the exact same thing. I've seen somebody do a shower cap. I've seen somebody take a bandana. It just seems so meticulous, because then my question is, okay, now that you've done that, and when you're applying it, because they pull the hair out and then they like comb it forward, okay, now you have to wash that out, right? let's say by accident you actually get some of that relaxer into your dread, or into, I guess you could say, your roots. What do you do then? How long has it been sitting there? Has it already straightened that portion of your root? What if it breaks off? The process to me just seems so meticulous. You would just have to be so careful that when you're pulling out your baby hairs, that you have to make sure that it doesn't get anywhere else, okay? Okay, so now let's discuss something that happened over the weekend that kind of ties into what we've been talking about for the past 2 episodes when it comes to the hair talks. So if you did not know, Simone Biles and her boyfriend did get married over the weekend. Me personally, the first thing that I noticed, of course, is a congratulations. You know, you guys are getting married. I wish you the best. I wish you to be fruitful and just be happy in your marriage, right? Of course, just me being me, the first thing that I'm looking for is the dress, all right? So, of course, this made national news. I read a couple of articles about it because Black Twitter was just ablaze. So like I said, I'm looking at the photos. I'm saying, oh, that's cute. I wish them the best. Young couple, they're getting married. Live your life. Be happy. Dress is beautiful. His little suit was cute. The little photos were cute. They had a photo shoot. They're going to have like an even bigger ceremony, destination wedding. So people started commenting about her hair, and I will put some of the videos, I will put the photos up here. So we're talking about Simone Biles. We're talking about a young woman who has, her name is like the shrimp. She has a gymnastic move named after her. She has overcome obstacles, the whole situation with when it came to USA Gymnastics. A young woman living her life, she chose to share her intimate photos with her fans. And what do people do? They criticize her about her hair and the fact that her edges were not laid at her wedding. So first, let's talk about her. I'm going to show some comments that people had, and then I'll show you one comment where someone was defending her. So the first comment says, Simone Biles wild AF for taking her wedding pictures with her hair like that. Y'all can fight me down. I don't care. Okay. I stand on WTF I said. The fact that that's what you're focused on just lets me know everything I need to know in this. I don't care. That lets me need to know what I need to know as well. And then the other one that I saw, it says, I don't care. Simone Biles' hair was a mess for her wedding. Y'all not convincing me this is not a bride look. Okay, those were 2 that I found. There were hundreds of thousands of others. Okay, but then there was another one, and because I do want to show someone who was in her defense. It says Simone Biles is one of the top gymnasts we've ever seen, has overcome situations of abuse and other obstacles in her childhood, has defined her own success and found love, and is now happily married. And y'all are worried about her hair. And that is my same sentiment. As you guys heard me say, when I first heard that they had gotten married, I wanted to see her dress. I love fashion. I wanted to see what she wanted her dress to be. I'm also very curious to see what her dress is going to be when it comes to her destination wedding. Apparently the dress that she wore was like $100 and some. The wedding bands from Amazon, and her shoes were from some other, like, I guess you could say, affordable company. They're going to do it big for their destination wedding. But this woman has chosen to show you photos. She's a public figure. So was her husband. I believe he plays for the Houston Texans. All of this matrimony, beauty and bliss, and y'all are going in on her hair. So what she said was, I think they also forgot I live in Houston, Texas, and I sweat those out. Soon as we stepped outside for photos, but they can keep complaining. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Now, for someone who lives in South Carolina, and once it hits May, you're talking about humidity over 100%. I have had several contracts in Houston, Texas, or just in Texas in general. And once you start getting into the summer months, your edges, your roots are not safe, okay? Even the women who are getting the Botox done for their, prolonged blowouts. Nowhere, no Black woman who is natural is safe when it comes to the humidity of the South, okay? This woman, like the person said, has overcome so many obstacles. She is one of the best gymnasts that we have seen of our time. And you guys are worried about her hair. It not being a wedding look, it not looking good. As she said, she was in Houston, Texas. The minute she stepped outside, even if her edges were laid or her baby hairs were laid, they were laid no longer, okay? And I'm saying that and I'm tying it all in because that's just the problem right there as far as the Black community is concerned, because white people are not worried people's edges. They probably don't even know what that is. They're looking at that photo as well and saying, congratulations, she looks beautiful. We wish you and your husband the best. They are not worried about her edges. But I'm bringing this story up because I'm tying it all in, because that's what y'all are worried about. Instead of congratulating her, instead of wishing well for she and her husband, you're worried about her edges. Ridiculous. Let black women do what they want to do with their hair. Every single time I come up with these videos about the hair talks and trending and things like that, and whenever I give my views, I have always said, number one, I have no issues with women who choose to relax their hair. It is your life, your head of hair. That's fine. So when people make comments like talking about stop policing black women, I'm not policing anything. Like I said, I am a lady on the internet giving my tips and my opinions. I give y'all hair tips. I tell you about the trends. It's just me simply reporting on the news. What I say is not what I say goes. Like that's not what it is. I'm just bringing forward my opinions, and I'm bringing forward the trends. The fact that this woman is getting married, a huge milestone in her life, and women are out of the, coming up with, out of the thousands are talking about her hair, is absolutely ridiculous. If that's how she wanted to wear her hair for her wedding, that's fine. Her baby hairs probably were laid, and as she said, the moment she stepped outside, they were no longer. It is what it is. But I'm saying all of that to say that, as black women, we have to be okay with our hair. These extreme lengths that some black women are willing to go to, again, I've said before, to live up to this Eurocentric standard, you have to get away from that. In the video that I talked about with the Botox, I never said that being black or being white or being Asian or being Hispanic, you can't be considered beautiful. That's not what I said. I gave examples of different parts of the world and their beauty standards. If you take a white woman and her beauty standard, or the beauty standard for that, or the people keep calling it the Eurocentric beauty standard, is blonde haired, blue eyes. You can look at me and see that I have brown skin. I have black hair. I have 4B hair, and I have brown eyes. If you're going to compare that to blonde hair and blue eyes, and that's the standard for beauty, I'm going to lose every single time. That's not something that I can live up to, because that's not who I am. That's not how I was born. That is not how God made me to be. That's why I said in the previous video, there are different beauty standards, but there are a lot of black women in just the black community who want to live up to, or who want to be accepted when it comes to a Eurocentric beauty standard. And it's just not going to happen. And really, if we're being honest with ourselves, it started, or it is within the black community. A white woman is not worried about whether or not a black woman is going to live up to a Eurocentric beauty standard. It's black people putting those standards on black people. I'm not saying that it doesn't come from outside sources. It absolutely does. But that saying, it be your own, or, sometimes it comes from your own community, or the enemy is within, I think it is absolutely true. As a community, we have to start accepting and start embracing black beauty for what it is. This is not me saying that white women aren't beautiful. Have never said that, will never say that. Have never said Asian women, Middle Eastern women, Hispanic women are not beautiful. There are just different beauty standards. And that is the whole point of living in America, is diversity, learning different cultures, learning what other people like. And lastly, my thoughts. The very, very first thought, of course, is completely unnecessary. Just like I said before with the whole Botox thing at your hairline. Completely unnecessary. The whole point of being natural, the whole point of having dreads is for it to be a natural look. Not saying it doesn't look cute, and not saying that someone who has dreads cannot lay their edges. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to go to the extreme length to actually relax your edges so you can have a slayed look when you have dreads is, I won't say ridiculous, but it's just unnecessary, okay? That is the whole point. Now, I do want to point out that I'm talking about fashion and aesthetics. Historically, when it comes to dreads, they are supposed to be unruly. They are supposed to be free. When you start talking about Jamaicans, when you start talking about Rastas, when you start talking about Rastafarians, You see that Bob Marley's dreads were never neat. He never got them retwisted. He never got them redone. So this phenomenon about dreads being, I guess you could say, from an aesthetic and a fashion standpoint, that is a very new phenomenon. Because my next question would be, okay, let's say for instance, you're tired of cutting, relaxing, and laying your edges down. What do you do with that hair after that? Because I thought, again, from a fashion and from an aesthetic standpoint, when you get your dreads retwisted or redone, you take the new growth and you just have that retwisted down, right? And then that's how you get the neat look. There's really no need at that point to actually have your edges laid, because they will be laid when you get your dreads retwisted, right? So that's why I'm saying it's very unnecessary. Of course, like I talked about before, when you start altering natural hairstyles and things like that, when you start altering it, or when you start, I guess you could say, being on the fence, or when you start teeter-tottering, okay, I'm going to be natural with my 4C hair, but I want my edges to be laid. You are defeating the purpose of you being natural, but you are also, again, sending this message that your hair, just the way it is, the way it grows out of your scalp, is not good enough. In order for me to be presentable, in order for me to be considered beautiful, in order for me to be attractive, I can have natural hair, I can have dreads, but I can't leave the house, or it's not acceptable for my edges not to be laid. But I think this phenomenon with baby hairs being laid, I think we have reached an all-time obsession. As I showed you guys before, this is really the only part that I consider, I guess you could say, to be baby hairs. This is, as I'm, doing this, these are full adult hairs. But today is Tuesday. This video goes up on Wednesday. I laid my edges, what's today? Tuesday. I laid my edges Monday. And when I came home, I put my hair just like this. I had it in an updo when I was out. I put it just like this to relax around the house. When I went to bed, I wrapped my hair. Since then, I have not touched my edges. I will not redo my, and this is what they look like. Some is laid. This is laid right here. This is curled up. This is laid, but earlier this was curled up, whatever. I will not retouch or redo my edges until I leave the house, or until I do a video, or until I feel like I need to relay them. This obsession with laid baby hairs and edges has gotten out of control. It's gotten to the point where there are some women who will not leave the house if their edges are not laid. And I know that I'm standing on my soapbox, so I'm getting ready to end this video, but as you guys can see and as you can tell, I am very passionate when it comes to certain things, and this is one of them, okay? Let me know in the comments what you think about the first two scenarios. Let me know what you think about the Simone Biles situation. I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And then of course, right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Bye guys.